Welcome on in, guys. Tobin here with you, and thanks for checking out the channel. Hope you're doing fantastic out there. If you guys could subscribe, that'd be great. And, the Tobin and Leroy show, weekdays 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. If you guys could subscribe to the QAM YouTube page, that would be great, too. Hanging out over here at the green room over at the Citadel Studios here today. And, I got to say, man, I was watching some highlights yesterday, and it got me feeling a little bit better because I got in my feelings, right? I got in my feelings about this whole Kelel Ware thing. And, LeBron's basically out there. I don't know if you guys saw it yesterday, but the big story yesterday in basketball outside of the Celtics beating the Cavaliers was that the Lakers beat the Jazz, which in itself is not a big story, but Dalton Knecht, their rookie, lit it up. He had 9 3-pointers. He scored 37 points and has just been on an absolute tear as of late from 3. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have not watched every Lakers game. They're a West Coast team. I'm very locked in our basketball team down here. So, but this one was an impossible one to ignore. I mean, it was an incredible performance on what he did yesterday, and credit to him. But it's obviously one of those things that's a bit of a, it's a bit of a wincer for the Heat because we're coming off of a game in Philadelphia where most of it, rightfully so, was mocking the Philadelphia 76ers, right? They got embarrassed. They're calling each other out. Tyrese Maxey comes out publicly and he goes, yeah, we laid down against the Miami Heat. They're out of anything. And one of their lone bright spots, probably their only bright spot really this year so far, has been Jared McCain. Then you double that up with the fact that the next day you have Knecht having this 37-point performance. And we're all sitting here and we're like, man, these two picks right after Kelel Ware were taken are out here already lighting up the league. And look, sometimes it happens to you. This happened last year with Jaime, where anybody could have had Jaime Jaquez. A lot of people passed on him, including the Lakers. He was in their own backyard, and they passed on Jaime Jaquez, and he came out, and he was marvelous. I mean, he had an incredible rookie year for the Miami Heat. First team all-rookie, won Rookie of the Month for, the first 3 months. He was tremendous. But this thing with Kelel Ware, it's definitely been something we've talked about, but it's getting exaggerated now because it's not just you're slow rolling him. It's you're slow rolling him, and then the people taking right after him are lighting things up right now. And from my perspective, I first of all, it was interesting going on the road trip and seeing, all right, Eric Spoelstra's going to give him a little bit. And I don't think I've looked at any time where I've seen Kelel out there in the limited action we've got to see him and think, oh, this guy's completely not ready. This kid can't do anything out on the court. Like, I thought that he was an improvement off what they were doing with Thomas Bryant. Thomas, they kind of were like, all right, we're going to put Thomas Bryant out here. We don't have Kevin Love for these first few days. Let's go with the vet. Okay, fine. Then that reached its course. You knew Spo was going to eventually grow weary of having Thomas Bryant out there. And then just over the road trip, he stopped playing him. I don't know if it was, he put him in for a few minutes against the Suns, put him in very few minutes against Denver, and I'm guessing the point of that was he just didn't want him to get embarrassed by Joker or just didn't trust him against Joker in those times. I'm guessing that's what it was, and that game got out of hand. Wolves, Pistons got a little action, and then it just was slowly slipping away. In this past game against the Sixers, he's basically benched. He got mop-up duty. And I'm just trying to search for the reason why, right? Like, you're a team that has had success with your young guys. And with Kelel, I don't look at him the way that I did Nico. Nico was very clearly, when he came to the league, very skinny, had the skill set, but they had to get a kid to have a man's body, right? Kelel, to me, looks like somebody who doesn't look physically overwhelmed by anything out there. And yeah, it's just frustrating. And the track record of Eric Spoelstra with guys where it's like the line ride is 6'7" or over, it's frustrating. I don't know what that is, and it's hard to know and to dive into like what makes him tick and what will make him rely on certain guys and others he won't. Because last year with Jaime, who's not over 6'7", and is more of a ball handler, can kind of initiate things, but they really threw Jaime to the wolves last year. Like they would put Jaime against Kevin Durant, Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal. They put him against like the best scorer on the floor plenty of times. LeBron James. We remember that one game against the Lakers. Jaime kind of held his own, but there are also plenty of games where he got diced up, and he knew that. He said by the end of the year he wanted to make himself a lockdown defender and a knockdown shooter. And before he got hurt, he was in a bad shooting slump, which is fine. This is still a guy who's growing, but at least he gets the chance to go out there and have some growing pains with it. And with Kelel, all right, Spo's going to do things at his own pace, but it is a little bit hard. You're like, all right, so should the Heat have been better off? Not even looking at it, what his overall career scope might be, but where they're at right now, would they have been better off taking the more infusion of scoring, or would these McCain and Knecht, would they have been redundant with the Miami Heat? I guess you could have some argument with that, but that is a little bit that's what left you in the boat with Maxey, right? Like you could have gone to the place where Tyrese Maxey was taken, and you're like, that was coming off the Tyler Hero boy wonder in the bubble. What do you need a Tyrese Maxey for? Is that the place where you're going to go? So it feels a little bit like the Heat went into this draft, right? And they did take Kelel with an eye of, hey, we have a need, right? We have a need that we want to bring. And I haven't looked like a kid in the limited time I've seen him. It hasn't looked like a guy who's afraid to shoot in those opportunities that he has. And this isn't even so much about like his future playing with Bam. I'm just like looking for his role right now on this team. But yes, so far it has been a well that hasn't really brought you any water, because it doesn't seem like anybody wants to go searching for it. And I don't know. I find it annoying. And then you have LeBron. That doesn't help. LeBron's out here mocking everybody, and he's sitting here and he's like, well, it's not that the Lakers are, any geniuses. He says the other 16 teams, they f***ed up. That was his quote. They f***ed up. That was his quote. And I was like, Jesus, dude. All right. And then I'm thinking to myself, yeah. And he's doing the thing, too, where he's like, I watched Dalton Knecht last year. You guys always call me a liar. It's like, yeah, dude, but you also sabotaged the Heat being like, Shabazz Napier, my favorite player. Heat didn't even have a pick, traded into the first round to get LeBron Shabazz Napier. Like, Pat Riley just did that simply to be like, hey, see, I got you your favorite player in the draft. Rats off a ship. Went to Cleveland. Didn't even matter to LeBron James. Completely was just like, oops. Shabazz, that was, you want to talk about a Heat first round pick that did not work out. That did not work out. Then the Heat, it was after that, really like the Heat, it's funny because it felt like after the Shabazz Napier thing, the Heat really hit their stride as a draft team, with Justice and J. Rich. Like it felt like this team kind of found something again with their ability to draft. Then they got Bam. Then they get Tyler Hero. Like they really felt like they found their stride after the Shabazz pick, because they didn't just do something to please their star or who they thought was still going to be their star. They did, they actually got some really viable pieces, and Justice played a lot his rookie year. Justice was a guy Spo entrusted with a lot of stuff his rookie year, a lot of different stuff his rookie year. And I don't know. Kelel is not on that path right now. And neither is Pella. It's tough for Pella too, because Pella, I love watching Pella play basketball, Pella Larson. And he's in a spot right now where, it's really like he's kind of filling in the cracks, because you do have when Jaime plays, when Terry plays, when Tyler plays, when Duncan plays, like where does he play? Where's his spot? And all of that. But I love watching Pella Larson play. Man, go watch Pella Larson play basketball live, and just see him fly all over the place and just extra possessions, diving all over the place. Confident in his shot. What was the game that he really broke out? Was it the Kings game? I feel like it was the Kings game because I feel like I remember myself being like, I can't believe this night got ruined by a tip-in. But Pelle Larsson's game against the Kings, man, I was just like, this guy is everywhere. And I love watching this guy. He was absolutely tremendous. What game was that? That was the Sacramento game. He played 25 minutes, scored 13 points, 3 of 5 from downtown. Had a steal. He was awesome. Speaking of Pelle, by the way, his teammate Keshad Johnson is in Sioux Falls right now, and I've been seeing some of the highlights. I started this off saying I was looking at some highlights. So I was looking at some highlights of Keshad Johnson, who is the undrafted wing player the Miami Heat signed after the draft. He played with Pelle Larsson in college. They played at Arizona together. Dude, this is another guy. I'm like, holy crap. He has, like, right now in the first 5 games, he's averaging over 20 points. But, like, you watch these highlights, and it's just everything. Mind you, I'm not watching a whole Sioux Falls game. But I'm just telling you, like, everything you see with him, he's flying all over the place. Monster dunks, monster blocks, big-ass wingspan. His 6'10", 6'11" wingspan is, like, all over the place. He's averaging over 2 steals through the first 5 games. He's causing havoc, dude. Havoc. The shot's not there, but you want to talk about, like, a guy who just looks like he's going to be a terror. He's another piece I'm excited about. And I don't know where his role would fit in. And this is a Sioux Falls team, man, like, pretty stacked. They lost their first couple of games, but their last 3 they've won. And they got Coach Basacchio coaching him, who was the Sioux Falls, who was the Heat G League, who was the Heat Summer League championship coach. But yeah, this team has got, Keshad. They got Josh Christopher, who everybody was excited about. We got Nasir Little on this team, Isaiah Stevens, Zion Bolin. Tony Snell's on this team too, by the way, which is crazy. But I'm like looking at these Keshad Johnson highlights, and I'm like, good God, they gotta get this kid up on the big squad somehow, right? Like, I don't know where his role is even, but I'm just watching Caleb Martin the other night, and you're like, man, this. And the thing is, he just looks, kind of reminds you a little bit of like what Jamal Cain could bring to the table, where he was like a pogo stick and he's all over the place. He would get those offensive rebounds. But, but Jamal was not a very big guy. I was always a fan of watching Jamal Cain, but he was just not a very big. This guy looks like pretty physically intimidating, especially against the G Leaguers. I'm just like, holy crap. He just looks like he almost looks like a like Greek freak out there. It's pretty crazy, So I don't know. Keep your eye on KJ. See what's what with that. But those high, he's just flying, blocking the holy. He's either blocking the holy hell out of something, or he's just flying with tomahawk highlight reel jams. Been sick, and we'll set up his teammates too. So that was a pretty cool thing to see. But man, yeah, I can't lie. Watching the last couple days, watching the guys taking right after Kelel ball out while he's sitting here, 2 cheeks on the bench. It's just frustrating as a fan. And I can't say I'm surprised by it, because we all know Eric Spoelstra's MO, and this goes back to what I was lashing out about, where Spo made me look like a stupid dum-dum, where I'm like lashing out about this and I'm losing sight of the game against Philadelphia. But now there's lots of time off, so I'm going to deter out elsewhere. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, hey, this is ridiculous. We're sitting here and the Miami Heat are not playing their pick, and the other guys take it right after him. And everybody else is playing there, but who's the other guy? Who? Topic? Because he's hurt. feels like everybody's playing their guy. I know. I think Devin Carter's been hurt. Remember, a lot of Heat fans want Devin Carter on the Kings. I think he's been hurt, and I don't know. The other ones escape me, but like, I don't think Reed Shepherd's getting too much action with the Houston Rockets. But this one, you have those guys, those plug and play guys who are just doing stuff right away. Man, tough pill to swallow right now. I'm not ready to like call it a wrap. I'm not here to sit here, giving LeBron victory because he's like, yo, those teams f***ed up. But I would like to see, Kelel Ware get taken out for a spin every once in a while, and it just feels like he's being put on ice.